So one last little word about this same problem that I think again draws out the logic of why I propose this model structure. For some match models, people have proposed, okay, kappa determining a suspect sample measurement, and then let's say kappa also affects lambda, and lambda then affects x. So, you know, the connectivity at least makes sense that there's hidden variables going down and connecting to our observations, and you know, if this was some kind of really simple relation, like, you know, the probability that lambda equals kappa equals 100%, then, you know, this would be a perfectly fine statement about that connectivity. The one thing that's missing here that's actually really important, and therefore I would consider we're missing an essential aspect of the model, is when you try to assess the strength of evidence for match versus mismatch for different kinds of polymorphisms. I think I emphasized last week that if we have a really rare polymorphism, in other words, a theta value, say, less than 1%, and we see a match in the observations, in other words, let's say both samples show that the polymorphism is present in those samples. Since it's a rare polymorphism, that's very unlikely to occur by coincidence, by random chance, right? So that becomes strong evidence that those two samples came from the same person. Whereas, in the case that this was an extremely common polymorphism, let's say a theta value of like 50%, then it's actually, you know, 50% probability that if you see it in one person, you will also see it in the other person, right? So it's not very strong evidence that the two samples came from the same person, because they're extremely likely to match each other just by random chance, okay? So the point here is that if we leave out theta, we're leaving out a really important piece of the picture for what actually matters in determining the strength of evidence for these two competing models, okay? So we can't capture that effect unless we include theta in the information graph structure. Other questions? Okay. If you have further things that you're wanting to review on this, you can take a look at the video on CCLB.